Hey folks, James Abrinio coming to you, and I want to answer a question that comes up, and it's huge now, whether or not non-citizens, folks here illegally, should be afforded due process under our Constitution, under our form of government. And for me, the answer is pretty straightforward. You just look at the Constitution itself. Look at the Fifth Amendment. Fifth Amendment typically in a criminal defense context talks about, and we use it all the time, the right against self-incrimination, prohibition against double jeopardy and all that. But it also talks about due process. And it says, and I'm paraphrasing here, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of the law. And that phrase, no person rather than citizen, sets, I think, pretty clear precedent for who should be given due process. Now, I also would ask you to look at other areas of our Constitution to compare, to show that the Founding Fathers knew the difference between citizen and person, and they weren't just haphazardly using that language. And if you look at Article 2, Section 1, defining who is eligible to be President of the United States, it essentially says natural-born citizens. So there you know that the Founding Fathers could have used citizens in the Fifth Amendment as well, but they didn't. Now, of course, let's talk about the historical context. Clearly, our Founding Fathers treated folks differently. Not every person was a person. We had slavery. We had the whole history that flowed from that. Even after the Civil War, we had Jim Crow. We had judicial cases that are very tragic to think about now in our current context. But we're living in 2025. And when we're looking at the plain language of that Constitution, and look, there are cases that have followed up with this, but when you look at the phrase no person, it's pretty straightforward what that means. It means everybody here on our shores. Now, I want to be clear about what I'm arguing versus what I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing all folks here illegally should be able to stay in the country. I'm not arguing that due process affords folks here undocumented everything they want. All I'm arguing is due process should be afforded in the right context, in the right situation to everybody. So due process in a criminal case, whether you're a citizen or not, is going to be very different than due process in an immigration case. To be clear, I'm not an immigration attorney, okay? So there are regulations, there are statutes, obviously constitutional language, there are judges that define all of that. But that being said, a foundational element is that there will be due process afforded, not no due process. So I hope that everybody here in the country hoping to support our Constitution, of course you fellow lawyers, we can all agree that due process should stand for everybody. We don't have to agree about how much due process everybody should get, but I hope as a community, as a country, we can come together at this very fundamental notion. And I hope this is useful. Feel free to comment. Wish you guys the best.